What's up? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I am Morrow, your storyteller for today. With me I have some more RPG horror stories. Man, I gotta be honest, guys. After having an unnecessary break from RPG horror stories for so long, it feels so good coming back and doing these stories. Seriously, I don't know if I ever talk about myself, but I am a workaholic. I feel better when I get to work and stuff. I feel relaxed. It's my vacation when I get to do something. When I sit around doing nothing, it just, you know what it happens? I end up thinking and stressing about, oh, I'm missing doing this, I'm missing doing that. I lose myself and I get so stressed. And I'm not sure if you know this, but if you have diabetes like I do, apparently stress is not a good thing. Stress apparently can raise your blood sugar and just do all kinds of really unhealthy things for you. So it's actually gotta be better for me in a sense to stay busy, which means we get to the next RPG horror story for today. Let's get to it. I just walked out of my first game ever. GM narratively forced my character into being a mass scooter because the two words are, I don't know if YouTube is gonna catch the word mass and then the word shooter together, so I am going with mass scooter. Anyway, let's continue. Been playing Werewolf the Apocalypse for the last few months at a local comic shop. Setting is modern day Appalachia with cryptids that were hunting ground. The game has been great until tonight. We're investigating a lumber company that had been doing illegal lodging and stirring up local monsters on the process. The plan was to kidnap one of the sons of the owner for information. Went to a local bar to meet him as prospective buyers and lured him out onto the patio where he would be away from other people. It turned out he had a bodyguard, things got ugly, and I unloaded an MP40 into his guard. Once again, we lured him outside where he would be alone. This was a major point we didn't want witnesses. After the fight, the guard is down and we're making our getaway. If you don't want witnesses, let me tell you something. When you have a gun, like if you don't have like a suppressor on it, but even if you do, like people are going to be able to hear it anyway. Regardless if you have a suppressor or other modifications to like make it quiet, guns typically make noises. So I don't know about being quiet. Maybe I don't know, some sort of a stabbing tool would have been better, like a knife or something, or a garrote, or I don't know, knuckle. You're making a scene at the bar anyway, with probably a lot of people out there already. So the stealth is kind of out of the window with that situation. But either way, let's continue. About 20 minutes after the fight, the GM then informs me that I shot 26 other people with my MP40 and 7 of them died. I was now a mass scooter and had committed the worst shooting in the history of West Virginia. My stomach literally turned. I was stunned. I looked at him and asked point blank if he was really making my character a mass scooter. I explained that the area was clear, there was no one around, how could I possibly hit 26 innocent people? He said no, the area was very crowded and there were lots of people eating on the patio. I tried talking to him and explained that he had never once said anyone was out there with us. The other 3 players were looking as shocked as I felt. Asked him again if he was sticking to this, that I shot 26 innocent and killed 7. He was adamant. I handed him my character sheet, picked up dice, phone and wallet, walked out and drove home. I know it's just a game, but like, am I crazy for feeling this was far over the line? I've been playing TTRPGs for decades, DMing for decades. I would have never done this to a player ever. I'm still pissed. You're fully in the right to think this is wrong because I feel like this is very wrong. It feels like the DM is pulling a gotcha. Haha, you thought you were just shooting just a bodyguard, but gotcha. You end up hitting a lot more people. You are now a mass scooter of West Virginia. It's just completely unnecessary. First of all, if there are people at the patio, wouldn't you want to describe to your players, you come out the patio, but you see that a lot of people at the patio. This place may not be so private. Or do you be like this DM and just don't mention it? Oh, you guys didn't ask if there were people at the patio. The whole point was to be discreet, DM, a storyteller. I don't know what you use for Werewolf the Apocalypse, but basically, like if you want to be discreet and the players are trying to do it discreetly, actually, did the players ever describe to do it discreetly? I think they would. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like maybe it's either a miscommunication issue. No, actually, you know what? No, I don't think it's a miscommunication issue because I feel like the DM just kind of goes, surprise, you end up hitting more people than you thought you would, just out of nowhere. Not in the time to do it, but only after they left. Only 20 minutes after the left, DM is like, I'm gonna turn the situation even worse and put more pressure on my player for no reason. Not immediately in the moment saying like, are you sure you want to do that? There are a lot of people on the patio right now. No, they waited after the session was like later in 20 minutes to finally exclaim, "Oh, you're a mass scooter now." This feels like a cut and dry gotcha. I don't know about you. Let me know if in the comments below what you think this is, but to me it feels like a cut and dry gotcha, and you're perfectly fine for wanting to not play this game specifically, and for even asking them, "Are you sure this is what happened? Are you sure you're sticking to the story instead of, I don't know, changing things up? Because you never said there were people at the patio, never said there'll be other people hit. Only 20 minutes after the game happened, you started saying that that's what's going to happen." It's a gotcha. To me, it feels like it's a gotcha. If you want to be a DM that plays gotchas, you're going to lose a lot of players. I think the most important part as a DM, GM, storyteller, whatever you are, the arbiter of the game, if you cannot communicate important details to your players, like how many people there are over at the place you're in, the bar, the tavern, or whatever, you're sort of doing your players a disservice, because now your players are thinking, well, I'm fine. Never mind, you're not fine. Now you're a mass scooter, because suddenly you're putting in a situation where your player, without the intending to be, becomes, oh, now you're a mass scooter. It's the same thing if this was like a D&D game, right? And you fighting somebody, I don't know, at the top of a building, and a player casts guiding bolt. Great, you hit, but the character you hit goes back and reels against a statue that falls down and kills 40 pedestrians on the bottom. Good job. Now you're a mass murderer. Whoa. It's just a gotcha. It's a gotcha to try to make a player feel bad because they're trying to be like, haha, gotcha. You thought you were doing the smart thing, but I turned around on you because I'm the ultimate DM and I can do that. Either way, let's move on to the next story. Hey kid, I heard you liked Mulan. Okay, let's plant the scenery. Given that people did not see the essay warning, I'm adding it here. Characters, me 14 years old. Dylan, 35 to 40 years old, owner of a shop. DM, 35 to 40 years old. I got a question. Why is a 14-year-old playing with a bunch of 30 to 40-year-olds? Like seriously, like unironically, are they like, you know, family, friends, relatives? Hopefully it tells us in the story, but let's continue. 2014, I was 14, having come into TTRPG Cafe for 2 years now, mostly joining one-shot tables since I did not have the freedom to come whenever I wanted. It's pretty well known and liked by the people there, being the youngest yet one of the most invested players they had. I like this place. That did not bother me for being effeminate nor dating boys. I'm trans. At the time with my education I did not know, still thinking I was just a fabulous bi guy. Most of the people I've met helped me discover and play various games other than the most well known. And one day, they organized one of the coolest events ever. A giant private TTRPG weekend on the field of the owner's family farm, 100 kilometers away with tent, food, and various beverages. I did and still did not drink, but I was happy for the adult. There were big scale activities like troll ball with swords and stuff, and had a lot of table for one shot or weekend adventures. That sounds fancy. I've never been to a farm, so I don't know if this is really fancy or not. I mean, like, I'm assuming like it's like going camping, but you're playing TTRPGs. Or are you not playing TTRPGs? They had some other events. I don't know. Anyway, this is a lot of information to put on somebody that gave me a little bit of flashbang, but let's continue. Let's get to the story. The best of all, while everyone had to pay to get there, the owner of the cafe invited me for free. At the time, I was just, yeah, the guy outside of the shop is helping rehabilitate problem children through TTRPGs. He's being nice to me given my family situation. How mistaken and dumb I was. I negotiated with hours with my parents to go. They finally let me, and the owner came to pick me up and drive me to the field on the Friday morning. Whoa, okay. I have questions already. First of all, why are your parents allowing their child, 14-year-old child, to go with some random adult without any specific like parental supervision, like with an uncle or a cousin or somebody older, you know, somebody at least 18 years old that can supervise and make sure nothing weird is happening? Why are your parents just allowing like, hey, yeah, with that chop guy down the street that wants you go to the TTRPG store, yeah, random adult that we don't even know, yeah, completely fine. It must be some sort of like a family friend or something, right? It has to be. I don't expect, honestly, I can't expect any parent to be like, yeah, stranger you want to go with? Yeah, you're 14 years old and this stranger's a full adult that she's just taking you to some random place, some random farm 100 kilometers away. Perfectly fine. If it was some local place that is pretty well known as like public and stuff, yeah, but this is a private farm event or whatever, 100 kilometers away, and 100 kilometers is quite far away. If you're just stranded out there with some stranger that could be doing whatever, that is a dangerous situation in my opinion. I feel like something is extremely off of the story already, but let's continue. I was set to sleep in his tent. Everyone shared tents, so okay, rather than being with someone I've known for 2 years, rather than any random adult. Put my bag in the tent, and the owner, whom I will call now Dylan, strongly recommended me to go to a table playing a Three Kingdoms story. A sentence that stayed with me, the one that still for some reason comes back in my head, was the title of this post. Hey kid, I heard you liked Mulan. I did. It was one of the only DVD we had with my sister growing up, so we watched it a lot and became obsessed with it. He then told me it was a table he was going to be in as a player and that the DM was his childhood friend who introduced him to TTRPG. Hyped by the prospect, I signed in. So the group was me, Dylan, the DM, and another guy I'm gonna call Josh, who was so stoned the entire time that it basically did not really play. I was given the Mulan pre-made character as I wanted, but it came with a twist. She had been discovered by her superior officer and had to do what he wanted if she did not want to be executed. The superior officer being played, you guessed it, by Dylan. And the master was creative when it came to what he wanted, having me RP sex for hours with his DM friend describing everything. It was so freaking fricked up, but I was a kid with a crappy family and education. I just went along with it thinking it was normal. I kind of want to call bull in this story because regardless if you had a crappy family, there's no way somebody is like, yeah, my 14-year-old going with a bunch of random strangers I don't even know in a private place 100 kilometers away, really far away from something. Yeah, sure, go for it. I think even crappiest parents would be like, no, you're not going anywhere because I want to be a dickhead to you. You want to have something fun, but I don't want you to have fun, so you're not going anywhere. You're grounded or something. Everything about this story just feels weird and wrong. Just everything. I mean, obviously the whole Dylan thing, being playing as Mulan and the whole RP sex stuff, very, very, you know, I don't even have the words for it, just but still, I want to call BS on the whole parent thing. It just doesn't feel real. It just doesn't feel real. It feels so unreal to me. But let's continue. The first day went by, we just waited by freaking the big battle that happened in 20 minutes and the session was over. We then ate the pig we roasted on the fire camp with everyone here and I went to sleep. Dylan came right after me, like 10 minutes after. He asked if I was asleep, which I did not answer. Then started to hear a sound I was familiar with, coupled with some moans. Turned my head pretending a sleeping movement to him, and he was there, watching me with his dick in his hand. I tried to brush it off, but I was freaking scared like I've never been. And this is why you don't let random 14-year-olds go with random adults that people don't even know out in the middle of the woods or farm or whatever the hell 100 kilometers away. What the hell? The day after, I quit the Three Kingdoms session with I want to try other tables and meet new people, which led me to one of my best Cthulhu experiences ever, but the two had other plans in mind. They just challenged the plan to have this session as night session so that we can continue our story for the weekend with you. We would be sad to lose the story. I was trapped, forced to go back, and went into survival mode. The first thing you should do is tell somebody else exactly what happened, because this is extremely and highly inappropriate. There gotta be like other adults there, right? Tell somebody, this guy was doing this really weird thing last night and I caught him doing it, and I want to change tents. I don't want to be with this person ever anymore. I understand like talking about it in retrospect doesn't really make sense and everything, and like, you know, what's already done is done and it's unfortunate, but if this kind of situation ever happens, I think the best thing to do is, I understand you're scared and all, but tell somebody about it. Tell somebody responsible about it, because you shouldn't be in a tent with this individual. You really shouldn't be in a tent. You should be you should be far away. This person should be in jail. If that actually happened, this person should be in jail. Should be split far away from this person. Put this person in complete isolation from everybody. Because if he's going to do it to near one kid, he's probably going to do it with the other kids too. This is highly unsettling. During the night session, I pretend to be very tired, which allowed me to at least not have to roleplay the struggle snuggle of my character. With my 14-year-old moans and descriptions, this is messed up. This is messed up. It's making my stomach churn a little. I'm gonna try to finish it as much as I can with leaving out some stuff. If something is just highly uncomfortable for me, I'm not gonna read it, but I'm gonna try to get through it. The loot scenes were not as good for them, so the main story stuff happened way earlier and again lasted 15 to 20 minutes. In the tent where he would do this stuff again, I'd sleep as a caterpillar with my head inside my sleeping bag so that he could not see me. That did not stop him from doing it, and my sleeping bag got rained on. But he was not watching my face. Seriously, you should have told somebody. You should have told somebody there, some sort of other adult saying, hey, this is going on, this is unsafe. Can you please call police? I want to go home. There must have been a way for you to be able to get like a ride out of there. There's no way nobody was able to like give you like a ride out. There's no way you were just stranded there, right? This very unsettling, extremely unsettling. On a final day, I applied the same strat and they did the same. With one exception, they tried during the entire session to make me drink, which I refused, pretending a religious belief. I'm from an Arabian but not Muslim family. They did not push the luck when I gave them this argument, especially because there were several Muslim players around, one of whom was the DM of the Cthulhu session, who after this weekend took me under his wing. This guy is like the top 3 of the best humans I've ever met. We played, they did the loot stuff together, and the campaign ended with my character being saved by her superior officer and deeply falling in love with him when he kissed her in front of the army. Then came the time to go to bed for the last time. I went with the same plan as the night before, but this time he just woke me up to ask me dumb questions about our road for the morning. I was forced out of my shield. He had added that I should not sleep like that I risked to suffocate in a sleeping bag. I was screwed and I knew it. So I slept and he did it again, and I could not do anything. Then I came back home and kept silence about that for a year. I did not stop going there. I could not lose the place, but I avoided Dylan as much as I could. The one day the cafe closed with no real notice of anything, he was gone. I never talked about this story. It became kind of a dream. I was not sure if that happened. And it took me years of therapy regarding my very difficult childhood to see this memory come back. This was a lot to read. And not like a lot to read is in text, but it's just heavy. Very heavy. I'm sorry that happened to you, because this is absolutely awful and terrible. Absolutely terrible. Just the worst. The one thing I'm baffled by is the fact that your parents let the 14-year-old child go with some random stranger they don't even really know. At least you didn't describe the fact they know. Maybe they do know him really well or something. But still, either way, I feel like most parents would be like, no, you're not going there. There's some kind of supervision. Like maybe, you know, your dad goes with you, or your mom goes with you, or your older cousin goes with you, or your uncle goes with you, stuff like that. You know, somebody with supervision to make sure that nothing happens, because it's a child. It's a 14-year-old child that's being gone away somewhere for like 100 kilometers away on a farm somewhere in the middle of nowhere with no ride back home. This is not okay. It's just not okay. Even if you have messed up parents, even if you have a terrible family life, I don't think most parents would just allow the 14-year-old child just to be like, yeah, you want to go with random strangers in a farm somewhere? Go for it, champ. Do whatever. Be my guest. I don't care. Either way, this is highly unsettling, highly disturbing. Ugh, I don't like anything about this story whatsoever. I think I'm gonna end it here for today, y'all. If this story is real, I'm sorry if that's what happened to you, but I'm sorely hoping that this is a fake story and nothing terrible actually happened to you, because the reality of it actually happened to you makes my stomach churn. Genuinely. I hope the person eventually goes to jail and some sort of retribution happens to the person. Karma will get him, hopefully. Just anything. Something terrible gotta happen to this Dylan guy. What a fucking freak. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.